if you enjoy what I do, please drop a like on the video, click the bell if you want to, not necessary, and drop a comment. Want to give me feedback. Doing it like this because I'm pretty bad at selling out when I'm recording videos. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you there.
So, I'm not happy with Gilgamesh's current review that I have out. It's with the old audio. Plus, he just got his buff. I was gonna do Gilgamesh in the new video format for any servant that gets a buff. But the way his buff works, there isn't going to be much of a difference. Spoiler alert, I was gonna try to look for Edmund Dantes with Black Rail run Triple Scotty, or I can't even run Triple Scotty, so it would have been a Castoria. Scrapped it, got a better use case scenario recording for him. We'll get to that later. Gilgamesh, his buff, a little different. Don't get me wrong, his buff is great. It's something he's needed. And he's like one buff away from being like really, really good. I'll get into what I think his last buff should be in a little bit. So again, we're coming back to reviewing all this because I'm going to take down the old video as well. Gilgamesh, he has a whole lot of titles. Just know that he's the king of all heroes. He's supposed to be one of the strongest servants in the game, and he has the lore to back it up. If you don't like him in Fate Stay Night as a character, you'll probably like him in Babylonia because he is a much more likable character in Babylonia than he is in Fate Stay Night. But there's a whole bunch of different exceptions for that. Base attack, nice and high, 12.2k. HP, low-ish for... No, this is definitely low for SSRs, especially... Yeah, just low for SSRs. Like, there are so many 4-star servants that have higher HP than Gilgamesh. There are a bunch of them, actually. And I think that's at level 82, which is oof. Sky attribute, not that it actually does matter with his new buff. His attribute does matter. Star rate, star gen, these are archer numbers. MP charge 0.34. He is carried by his hits. He is carried by the fact he has 5 hits on the Quicken Arts card, and the fact that he's an archer. He is supposed to be critting on them. He has skills to help him crit on them. 5 hits across the board, 8 hit extra attack, carried by his hit counts. This MP charge, if they could buff this and make this 0.5, he would function so much better, and QABs would look so nice with them. And again, another reason I didn't get gameplay video for Gilgamesh is I would have used my MP5 Gilgamesh on NA, which wouldn't have even showcased the buff. So, yeah. All right, let's get right into talking about the buff. Before, 21% attack buff with the Charisma on a 5-turn. Cool, good, better than what it was when it came out, but it was always boring. The buff version is an MP damage buff for all Sky attribute allies and 20 stars. So Cuckoo has a very similar skill, and by Cuckoo I mean Quetzalcoatl. She got a very similar buff, and honestly for her it was underwhelming because it was like a 30-star bomb on her Charisma when Ozzy got like stars per turn, and they both got the buffs around the same time. This works more for Gilgamesh. Why? Because he has star weight on one of his skills. Like, the original version of that skill was star weight before they gave it a battery. Spoiler alert, it's this one. This has been out for forever. Star weight, 30% battery. On an archer, he pretty much guarantees he gets all the stars on this. The MP damage buffed up his 3-turn damage. Best way to show it, would be here on this chart. Damage difference after buff. Up 10,000, 23,000. And then if you're including Oberon with your farming. All right, yeah, this is the older. Okay. Lost myself for a second. If you like, this is like 60,000 on turn 3. That is a significant difference. Like, we can't pretend that that's not something. But that's kind of all the buff did. It makes his 3-turn damage better. Cool. He is now back hitting harder than all of the other archers. He's back to being number 1. He was in, what is this, 3rd place behind Ishtar and Tesla. Now he's hitting way harder than them again. His damage overall is still better than all of them. Not insignificantly either. Like, he's hitting like almost 20,000 harder than all of the other ones in his class. So, yes. This buff puts him above most of his, like, it does put him back above all the other AoE archers, especially because Tesla kind of dethroned him for a while. He was hitting harder, his refund was better, like, he just had a better kit than Gilgamesh. Yeah, over here, like, Gilgamesh is back to doing straight up more damage than him, and his damage mod is way easier to activate than Tesla. And again, the stars per turn are nice because, again, Archer crits, all the stuff he can do. If you bring in other supports, he can do different things. You bring Castoria, he's looping his MP off his arts card. Probably off 1 crit, if I had to take a guess. Based on his hit count, crit, all that stuff. And the fact that he has this, a golden rule. So, here is the other buff I want them to give to Gilgamesh. Because, yes, this buff, cool. But why are Gilgamesh skills all going to be boring? This is Gilgamesh, the king of heroes. Like, what most people that got into Fate watched Fate Zero. Gilgamesh at his, like, prime showing for most people. Why are his skills boring? So, here is my idea for how they buff Golden Rule. They keep this part. Every time Gilgamesh attacks with a card, he gets a buff. Lasts for 3 turns. Basically, we take what Huyan does with her Buster and Quick cards, give that to all of Gilgamesh's cards. He pops his, uses his Quick card. He gets, honestly, since he only has 1 Quick card, you might as, it's either you, I think it should be all the cards. So if he attacks with the Quick card, 100% Star Gen, also goes back to his caster form. If he attacks with the Buster card, 30% crit damage, 3 turns. This can't even work with the MP. It would be up to Lasagna. And then Arts card, give him like 20% MP gain because he's already getting 50. We don't need to like super roid him out more than a buff like this already would be. Do I think this is a little too much? I mean, not really, because it's not changing. It's not going to affect this chart, which is how they do some of the buffs and balances. Like, him getting these buffs from a buffed Golden Rule, it's not going to affect it. His MP is not going to do refund. It's a one-hit MP, so it's not going to be generating a ton of stars. And like, you can't crit on an MP. So buffing the golden rule to and just have him become a functionally better character because of that skill buff, I think would be awesome for him. Really like it. And then after that, they don't need to touch him. Again, I already went over this. So we're talking to passives. 11% crit damage. He always has crit damage, but he's an archer. He has star weight. He can drop stars. Let him do crits. It doesn't even have to be as crazy as skills I was talking about. Just give him crit damage on this skill. They're not going to give him a buster buff. There's no way they're going to give him a buster buff. The reason being because you're going to have a 21% attack buff multiplying into a 50. We're going to get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that. Debuff resist, low. No wonder. Divinity. If you're buster farming, get mana loading. Extra attack is next, and then Rider. Okay, so going back to why they're never going to give him a buster buff in his own kit. He already will get 50% MP damage, multiplying 21% attack. Damage mod on his MP against pretty much all servants except those with the star Pioneer of the Stars or star attribute, I believe. Yeah, I think all these servants are like star attribute or something. Oh yeah, he wouldn't even have. So in the recording I was gonna do for like Gilgamesh, like his damage testing, I was gonna put him up against Kiara, and she wasn't even gonna take any more damage. So I'm glad I figured that out real quick. But yeah, if we look here on the damage chart, set to AoE MPs. Even here, hardest without any additional buffs, he is the hardest hitting by a lot. By a lot for all of them. He hits so much harder. Ignoring his like ease, like even with the damage mods, he hits harder. They're never going to give him a buster buff in his own kit. So the next logical choice is that for them to buff his crit damage, because he can't really do crit damage that well. He can refund from crits, but he's not really doing big damage unless it's coming from supports. Which is why I also think they're not going to just give him a boring crit buff, because Vich and Merlin can give that to him. I'm wanting this to get buffed for his self-sustainability, not to go back to the philosophy, well, you're just going to use him with Vich and Merlin, so Vich and Merlin will give him all the crit damage he needs. No, we need to, they stopped doing that with quick servants. They need to stop doing it with buster servants, the old buster servants too. You can't rely just on Merlin and Vich to give you everything, especially now that the advanced quest and the super recollections have it so you cannot double stack servants, which if you didn't know, kind of screws with the whole thing with Gilgamesh with his balance, because he was balanced around having 2 Merlins, and if you can't do 2 Merlins, you're kind of fucked, aren't you? If you can't do 2 Coin Skies, you're kind of, aren't you? So that is my rant about that. Like, just use the right support forehead. Not everyone's gonna have the right support. That's why they're making all these other different supports, like Ruler Scotty, Lady Avalon, so people aren't forced to buy one servant, especially if they don't like them. Ruler Scotty is different enough from OG Scotty. Yeah, sorry that I'm branching at you guys like you can't comprehend. You guys definitely can comprehend. And Bond CE, again, why I think they would give him crit damage. MP damage, and then 30% chance to increase crit damage, 10% while he's attacking. This CE is stupid because you're not gonna have enough. There's no way it's gonna proc enough. A, B, Black Rail is gonna give way more attack and MP damage. This is 100. Black Rail gives you 2400 attack and more than double the MP damage. Why would you use this over Black Rail? Or even Heaven's Feel? Like the argument, like even Heaven's Feel at 40% would give you more, and would like have a wouldn't have this effect that's probably never even gonna proc for a very low amount of crit damage. I say like Bond CEs can be good, but this one doesn't work the way you think. Nowhere close to working the way they think. This needs to be like 50%, and like this needs to be 20 for you to use this over Black Rail, Heaven's Feel, the new Black Rail, any of them. Is Gilgamesh worth summoning for now? He's almost there. He's almost at modern servant levels. I think you need to give him the Super Saiyan. I think he needs to be able to go Super Saiyan off this skill. Otherwise, it's just like he's hitting better than all of these AoEs. But the main reason he's hitting harder than Tomitomo is because Tomitomo is not meant for 3-turn farming. He works better in boss fights. Something the others cannot say that well. Gilgamesh has no survivability. So it's either you're going to give him survivability or you're going to give him crit damage. And I think like based on his kit, they would roid him out and like they wouldn't give him survivability. They give him another offensive thing. All right. That's enough of my rant about Gilgamesh. I love him. I love the dichotomy of how he is in Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero compared to Babylonia. Shows the full package of who Gilgamesh really is, and I understand him more as a character. He still needs help. We have Lost Spell 5 coming out. I mean, not 5, 7. We're getting those servants soon. And it's more if you already have them, you're eating good. I know he's about to go on rate up, but you shouldn't really be going for him unless you have Vitch and Oberon yourself. If you have both of them, then he is actually going to be worth, because he is going to be the hardest hitting and scales the best out of all the AoE archers with Oberon. Yeah. All right. That's it. Next up is Enkidu, and then I will finally get around to Dante's buff. I know it's been a couple weeks, but I was trying to get perfectionist about it, and it's late because of that. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.